How you doing? Welcome to Community Crossfire, another point of view. I'm your host, Norman Oliver. We have a very, very important panel this evening talking about the Port of Wilmington and what's going on down there. Before I go to my panel, I always like to talk about a few things. First of all, I'm going to give a happy birthday shout out to Nancy Willing. Didn't know that. And I guess Reefa Morning, happy birthday. I would say you're only 25. I would not talk to you like Trippy Congo just did. He's so disrespectful. Happy birthday. I know Dr. Morton. Last week we had a very, very interesting show, and I got a lot of phone calls with the mayor, Mayor Dennis Williams. Thank you, Mayor. And, Mayor, when you get a chance, could you give me my tape that I paid for? But I tell you, there's a lot of things that are happening in City Council and the Mayor's office. I think this is going to be an interesting time, to say the least. And I do hope they get along. It seems to me, I don't look like I had two good friends, one pick up a job and one lose a job. And I don't want to mention their names because they're both good friends. And both of them, one was in the mayor's office, moved over to city government. One city government, I hope she moves over to the mayor's office. Just crazy, crazy times. And also last week I talked about the Cincinnati Bengals, my good team. And I was joking, because I have fun. Cincinnati Bengals lost to Dallas Cowboys. But this Thursday, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And so also what I said, and I'm going to say this before I go to my panel. Can I have a second? Judy said, okay. Last week I talked about University of Delaware basketball game. Delaware State University beat University of Delaware. I go to University of Wisklow, we drink the good wine, and those guys give me a hard time when University of Delaware beat up on Delaware State every year in football. We tailgate with these guys because all of us are friends. But, we talk smack. It's nothing personal. My good friend, and I will say this, my good friend Monte Ross, he's the basketball coach at University of Delaware. As a matter of fact, I think he's only the second black coach in the history of any sport at University of Delaware since the Emancipation Proclamation. You go on that campus, you're scared, And so somebody calls this guy and said, I beat up on him. First of all, Monte Ross is a friend. He's a good friend. So if you're going to say something, whoever called Monte, call him up and say Norman Oliver said he's a good friend. I wasn't beating him up. I was just talking smack. I'm happy that we beat him. I don't care if we beat him once. This is what I said. Now, okay, you watch my show, right? So you know I don't miss my words. And I don't apologize. I said, I don't care if we beat University of Delaware once in any sport. I'm happy. Because their athletic budget is probably like $60 million. Delaware State is probably 60,000. They have like 30,000 students. Delaware State University has like 3,500. And that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. But since the person who called Monte Ross and upset my good friend, and he is a friend, as a matter of fact, University of Delaware basketball team, I don't even want to talk about this that long, so it upset me because it upset my friend. The person who called there, why don't you call the president, Patrick Harker, right? Because I read a lot of the publications, and University of Delaware is the worst, or one of the worst in the country with diversity. Okay? See, they won't have the balls to call him up. They won't call and say, and I guarantee, I know it was a black person, I guarantee you. They call Monte up. Man, did you hear Norman Oliver talking about you? No, I wasn't talking about him. I hate to see those two guys even playing each other. Call Patrick Harker. Now, this is me talking. And say, we have a diversity issue where we have like 2 blacks who are not playing sports. So can we get some blacks in our college? You're the worst. Now, that's what you call and say. But I guarantee you won't do that because you don't have the balls to do that. But you have the balls to call Monte Ross, a basketball coach. Call some of the board members like I have done. So I've said my speech. I want to say thank you to Simone. Simone, thank you so very much for helping us put together an incredible presentation for a grant that we put together. Simone, thank you so very much. Julius, I think I said enough. Let me see. Cisco, my brother Cisco's birthday is coming up too. Happy birthday, Cisco kid. He won't see it because he's changed from Comcast to something else. Okay, let me get serious. And I'll be up on University again later on, so you don't call Monte, call me, because I'm going to beat you up again. How about Cincinnati Bengals, man? We beat the hell out of the Eagles, didn't we?
Yeah.
34-14. All right, on a serious note, right, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I asked Julius and some of you folks to come down. The Port of Wilmington that is one of the biggest employers here in the city of Wilmington. First of all, when I was on city council, we sold the port to the state of Delaware for like $25 million under the understanding that they would keep the union, keep the jobs, because the city of Wilmington just couldn't afford it at that time, you know. So I thought, because I was the chair of economic development, I thought it was a good deal. I think privatizing the port, in my opinion, and I have no idea, you guys could speak more clearly to it than I think it's a bad deal, because I think sooner or later they're going to take those $30 an hour jobs, shrink them, then they're going to dismantle the port. I mean, dismantle you guys. Julius, talk to us in your own way, introduce all your guests, and tell us what's going on.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, no problem. My name is Julius Cephas. I'm the president of the Port of Wilmington 1694-1, the local warehouseman.
Hold up. Okay, now say it, because it was on me. You know, sometimes down here we do like a ventriloquist act, right? they had the camera on me while you're talking. Okay, go ahead.
I'm the president of the union at the Port of the warehouseman, 1694-1. This is Paul Cutler. He's my vice president, and I'll let him introduce himself and tell you how long he's been working at the Port of Wilmington.
Since 1978, full time, about 36 years.
Nancy?
Nancy Willing. I follow this on my blog, Delaware Way. I've been writing about it and trying to keep up with all the data that's out there.
I'm Clarence Bird, Chief Shop Steward at 1694-1. I've been at the port for about 15 years. Thank you.
So pretty much, what exactly is going on? I mean, who is this outfit? Do you think that it's going to happen? If it's going to happen, when? If not?
Okay. Well, a year ago, they was talking about privatizing the port. Norman, you remember that? And I had a lot of concerns. And right now, we're here because we have concerns, because a lot of our questions haven't been answered. Last week, this company, the board announced that Kendall Morgan, who's the #1 energy company in this country, is going to be, they're going to privatize the port. And basically privatize the port, it's another word, a pretty word for outsourcing. And basically this company is supposed to run the port.
Wow. What do you think about that?
It's scary. Mm-hmm. It's scary. I mean, what happens to our pensions? Mm-hmm. Private company comes in. Where's all the money coming from? When we went, like you said, from the city to the state, they assured us everything would stay the same. And everything did stay the same. Now they can't assure us anything. Mm-hmm. Everything's confidential.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, so who makes the decision? I mean, it appears to me, and I'm just like on the outside looking in, that it's the Economic Development Office is just making all the calls, and nobody, is that accurate?
Yeah, the port has a board, and Alan Levin, he's the chairman of the board. And basically, they made their announcement. And the problem, the concerns I have is this, that when initially Alan Levin told everybody that the legislators will vote on the decision once it got to that point. Since this has happened, Alan Levin has changed his tune. He said that they're not, he's trying to find a way where they don't have to go in front of the legislators. And to me, that doesn't smell right. We vote our politicians in office to protect us. So now they're trying to go around them. But Senator Marshall, and thank God for Senator Marshall, in a newspaper yesterday, he said that if it's not clear, they're going to put a bill in to make it clear that y'all is going to have to go through them. So Alan Levin is really scaring us because he's changing his tune.
Where are you at on this? I mean, what's your role?
The Delaware Port, what is it? The Delaware State Port Corporation. Of its the board members, the vast majority are on Governor Markell's payroll. They're appointees of Markell. So that really gives the governor way too much power. And when we've heard from Levin through the newspaper that he believes they're going to ask attorneys to whether or not the legislature has the right to vote on this. They'll maybe run it by the legislator, but they don't have the right to vote, and the public doesn't really have a voice in comment. Or I mean,
so it's just a done deal.
Well, here's what I've seen too is that they had a desire to privatize the port because they thought it would take $500 million that we don't have to open up the port to the Delaware River for the big container ships. The
Ben. Thank you. Go ahead.
Supposedly a task force put out a consultant, had hired a consultant, but it turns out they're a Canadian company with roots in energy, and the whole idea of Pennsylvania having all this energy source of natural gas and the shale oil, I think pretty much that's what's happening. That they came up with this company, Kinder Morgan, which is going to basically is about energy cargo. It's got liquefied natural gas ports in the southwest. It's got coal in the southeast, and it wants to spread up. But the point is that they don't have a good track record. They've been fined by the EPA. They've done a lot of dirty tricks. So they want to have energy cargo. They want to take what's coming out of Pennsylvania and export it. So will be an energy export, and that's not as far away from fruits and vegetables that we have now.
Now, let me ask you, shop steward.
Yes.
So you pretty much deal with the rank and file.
Yes, rank and files.
What is the thought? What are the workers saying? I mean, are they scared, or what do you think?
From my point of view, the workers are very concerned about their jobs, their future, the pension, where we stand if this privatization comes in, what happens to us. There are full-time and part-time employees, which is A's and B's of one union. But we're just concerned about what's going to happen with our future. How long are we going to be there? If they sign a deal, what happens?
And plus, it's pretty good money for you guys, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's a pretty nice salary.
Yes, yes. We'd like to be there for a while. At least I would like to be there for a while. I'm looking out for the future, not just me, but for other brothers and sisters of the union and their families and the community, because there's an environmental situation that might take place if this deal goes through. So I'm not sure.
Julius, I have to say that you've been on this for a while. As a matter of fact, over a year ago or so, you saw it coming down, and I want to commend you, because I was asking a lot of people. They were telling me Julius didn't know what he was talking about. Bang, 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 and this can come back and bite some of these folks.
Yeah, that's true, Norman. And again, a lot of people threw me underneath the bus, said I was crazy, whatever. But I'm not going to worry about that. My concern is the membership, the environment, and the workers. And I'm going to give you a good example. They have one of the worst track records with the EPA and all that. I mean, they've had explosions with the black coal dust. This is going to mess up our whole city. And again, these are concerns for us because nobody's answering our question. And I'll give you a good example. I went to the board meeting last week where they made a decision, and they have a public session, and I raised my hand to speak. And I asked everybody on that board, and Alan Levin too, that would y'all sign a paper stating that if this happens, that nobody on this board or down to Dover will profit from this, or your family members. Because I don't want you voting on my livelihood based on, or the union's livelihood based on profit.
If you could, ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in, we're talking about the Port of Wilmington becoming privatization. How many people work? I mean, is that longshoremen?
It's everybody.
Does it affect everybody?
Yeah, it affects everybody. It's 2,200.
Oh, yeah.
I think union members.
Wow.
Am I right?
I think we get over 200 in our local.
Yeah. You got different locals down there. You got people, and let me say one thing clear. I'm speaking for union and non-union, because you got a lot of single mothers. This is big, Norman. And again, environmentally, wherever this company goes, the asthma, cancer rate picks up. Everything happens. And again, we're concerned because nobody's answering our questions. You know what I mean? And if you put a company there based on profit, where does that leave the community?
You're the business agent?
Vice president.
Vice president. So when it comes down to dollars and cents, what is this company saying that they're going to bring to the table? I mean, how are they going to help you guys or not help you?
Well, they say they want to grow jobs. But I mean, everything is confidentiality right now with this agreement that they have, so they can't say anything until it's a done deal. I mean, let me get real clear. So they're going to grow jobs, but they can't tell you how they're going to grow jobs. Not right now. They can't. Everything is confidential. That's what they're telling us.
So about the money, what are they saying that? okay, let's say it's a $25 million business. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number. So are they saying now it's going to be 50 million, 30 million, 10 million?
They said when I went to a meeting last week, met these two people. Yeah, I guess it was last Thursday. They said that they're already looking to grow business at the port.
What does? I'm sorry. What does grow business mean?
That's what they told me. I don't know what it means. To me, it sounds like maybe it's already a done deal. I mean, you're going out looking for business, and there's no contract signed.
Well,
Nancy, you like a researcher, so I'm sure that you've checked this out and done a little background on it. What's your gut feeling? I mean,
well, I think that it's that does people of Delaware, speaking through the legislators, do they want to risk all these jobs, good-paying jobs, and do we want to risk having an energy cargo firm, that doesn't have a good track record? These people, Kinder Morgan, both were top Enron executives. So that you got to look at the kind of people that ran Enron and the scheme and that went behind there, and then you look at the track record of this company and the kind of product they do. It's not a good scenario. And what Alan Levin has said in the press was that he would try to secure the jobs. That's not very promising. This company try to secure.
So try to secure the jobs
at this point,
and maybe bring in more jobs.
And well, he said he's going to zealously protect the
That's
environment,
crazy.
but
it's very crazy.
That's crazy.
See, we have a pension, and they don't have a pension. They have a 401k. So what happened?
Do you know what happened to a lot of those 401ks?
Yeah.
and those pensions.
Enron.
Right. So what happens to the union's pension? Paul's been there for 7 years?
36 years.
Okay.
When you start when you like 12?
Now I started when I was about 20.
You look young.
Yeah. So what happens to the pension? And we've asked him about this, and Senator Marshall, I got to give him so much credit. He had a Senate hearing, and we asked Alan Levin about what happens to our pension. He couldn't answer. We asked him how many jobs would be lost. He couldn't answer. And again, this is going to affect the whole community. I mean, and again, the port has people work in Wilmington, Newcastle counties, Sussex, all the way down. And for them to try to silence the state legislators to go around, that's very concerning, Norman.
I'm going to come right back to you because I got to ask you a couple questions. But here we go again, right, with the rank and file.
Right.
You hear me? When they're lazy. And I mean, no, you're not saying, I'm just saying they got to get off their butts and come to these meetings and start speaking out about something like this, or they're going to lose their jobs. I know a lot of people from the port watch this show. I mean, I think it's a crisis. I mean, this is just me speaking. I have no idea. But I mean, just from the outside looking in, and I've been reading some of the documentation. What are you guys doing?
Me personally, I'm trying to encourage
Not you personally.
all the men in rank and file.
Okay.
Been talking
You
to
feel
them.
me?
Yes, I definitely feel you. I've personally been going, trying to get them to come to union meetings, trying to see what's going on, read the papers, call their local representatives. I'm not a city person, but my heart's here. So
But you know, this is a city, county, state issue. I mean, because you got guys from all over working down the port.
That's right.
I mean, all the people working down the port don't live in the city of Wilmington.
Oh yes, I
They
know
live in
that.
Newcastle County, state of Delaware, and probably some of them even outside of the state.
Downstate.
Right.
Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
So that's my point. It's a bigger issue that says the city. I'm sorry.
I just want to say that the pretty much everybody feels comfortable that our coastlines are protected by the Coastal Zone Act. But when the city sold the port, one of the deals that happened was that the port is exempted from that protection. So they can try, they might feel free to come in and put a liquefied natural gas plant in there, which is when they condense the gas and it's extremely explosive, and then all those, so what I'm saying is that there might be a loophole they're looking at why they feel good about purchasing or making a deal with Delaware for this port, because there's a loophole on our Coastal Zone Act at the Port of Wilmington.
How many different presidents are down there, Julius?
I say 6 or 7. You know.
So are all these guys on the same page as you?
What I think is everybody has the same concerns. We might have different approaches to how to deal with it. But I think now people are starting to see, okay, they start to understand. But yeah, I believe we're all on the same page.
Maybe I should ask the question a different way, right? Do some folks think it's a good deal? Some of the other unions, who's done that?
I don't want to speak for them. But
what do you think? Would anybody else have an opinion on that?
I don't see how it could be a good deal if they're going to. These companies don't keep unions. I mean, that's why they come in without the protection of them not needing. If the deal, it's all going to come down to what the deal says. We look at this contract. They're going to give us what, in 90 days or something. They're going to release it, and that's what.
Well, I'm sorry. Say that again.
They're going to be. The paper said they're going to be releasing this deal for people to look at in 90 days or so, somewhere in the next couple of months. But they intended to vote on it in the spring, and they said no public comment and no General Assembly vote. Well, the General Assembly, thank goodness, for Bobby Marshall, and I understand McDowell has come in, and they're saying no. As soon as we get there in January, we're going to make sure there's no loophole in the Delaware state law, that we enact that law, and we say that we get a vote. So that's what's on the table right now. This Port Corporation group is saying that the law is fuzzy enough that they don't need the Assembly's say-so.